Introduction. Serious error would seem to require serious argument to refute it. While this may be true in the hard sciences which deal with material objects, it is not true in the social sciences which deal with human affairs. Indeed, faced with the pretentious solemnity of official nonsense, evidence and reason are helpless. Our only effective weapon against it is laughter, especially the laughter of ridicule. Nothing, observed Voltaire, is so effective in crushing superstition as mockery. Ridicule gets the better of anything. It is the most powerful of weapons. Familiar to the classical world, satire virtually vanished during the Age of Faith, that is, from the 4th to the 16th century. The New Testament foreshadows Christianity's distrust of laughter and levity. Let your laughter be turned to mourning, preaches James, and your joy to dejection. Trying to stem the renaissance of laughter, Francis Bacon inveighs in 1597. As for jest, there are certain things which ought to be privileged from it, namely, religion, matters of state, great persons. In his majestic work on Rabelais, Mikhail Bakhtin reminds us that early Christianity had already condemned laughter. John Chrysostom declared that jest and laughter are not from God, but from the devil. Rabelais rejected this and reclaimed laughter by attributing divine legitimacy to it. God who subjected the world to man. To man alone permitted laughter, to be merry, not to the beast, who has neither reason nor spirit. To be sure, the official, abstractly as truth or concretely as very important person or institution, still demands seriousness. This is hardly surprising. After all, who are the eternal enemies of tolerance and truth? Their official guardians, church and state, and in our day, science and medicine. In their zeal for ideological hegemony, for dominion over the soul and mind and body of man, the oracles who speak in the name of God, country, science, or health practice not only fraud and force, but also demand awe and deference. In their presence, toward their profundities, solemnity is the only proper sentiment. Laughter is intolerable. Ridicule is sacrilege. The Church's demand for solemnity, no less than its demand for stupidity, had to be repudiated before man could turn his interest from heaven and hell to heavenly and earthly bodies. We regard Copernicus, 1473 to 1543, as the man who successfully repudiated religious thought control, epitomized by the Church's control over cosmology, and ought to regard Rabelais, c. 1494 to 1553, as the man who successfully repudiated religious mood control, epitomized by the Church's control over laughter. Indeed, as Bakhtin emphasizes, the history of laughter is an important chapter in the history of man's liberation from hypocrisy, stupidity, and oppression. Laughter liberates not only from external censorship, but first of all from the great interior censor. It liberates from fear of the sacred, of prohibitions, of the past, of power. Seriousness had an official tone. It oppressed, frightened, bound, lied, and wore the mask of hypocrisy. Thus, distrust of the serious tone and confidence in the trust of laughter had a spontaneous, elemental character. Of course, the subjects I address in this volume are serious, and their duly appointed officials speak in the solemn tones appropriate to their lofty positions. But I agree with Voltaire when he said, "I look on solemnity as a disease. It seems to me that morality, study, and gaiety are three sisters which should never be separated." Let us never forget that the guardians must themselves be guarded, especially against taking themselves too seriously. If they cannot laugh at themselves, they deserve to have us laugh at them. In fact, we fail to do so at our own peril.